Then, with a sort of quick acoustic strum, some drumstick on drumstick action, and the odd pop from a tuba, I realized that we are firmly in Andy's cul-de-sac of quirkiness. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Audiophiles. My name's John. His name's Andy. Oh, woman, don't you be so mean. You're the meanest old woman that I ever seen. I guess if you say so, I'll have to pack my things and go. That's right. More on that later. Andy, what have you got for the class today?
Well, I have got a group called Me Without You, and it is stylized as one word, all lowercase letters, save for the Y in you. So Me Without You. Have you heard of this band at all?
No, but I'm getting red flags.
Red flags, are you? Okay. Well, it only gets weirder because the name of the track is called The Fox, The Crow, and The Cookie.
Okay. I'm getting Sesame Street vibes.
In a weird way, yeah, that checks out. So this is the original music video for the track as well that I'm going to be having you check out. So go dip and dabble into that and come back and let me know if you're still standing.
Will do.
All right.
Through mostly vacant streets, a baker from the outskirts of his town earned his living peddling sweets from a ragged cart he dragged around. The clever fox crept close behind, kept an ever-watchful eye for a chance to steal a ginger spice cake or a boy's Mary pie.
Okay, we have a performance here. Oh, this is very Andy straight away. So, acoustic guitar, fiddle, and I think that's a tuba, the most comedic of all instruments. And the drums hitting like rim shots. Okay, yeah, this sounds very Andy, and clearly this is a story as well. I wonder if it's like Aesop's fable, Fox and the Crow. Let's see how it goes.
Looking down was the hungry crow. When the time is right, I'll strike and condescend to the earth below and take whichever treat I like. The moment the baker turned around to shoo the fox off from his cart, the crow swooped down and snatched a shortbread cookie and a German chocolate tart, using most unfriendly words that the village children had not yet heard. The baker shouted threats by canzonet to curse the crafty bird. You rotten wooden mixing spoon, why you midnight winged raccoon? You better bring those pastries back, you no good burnt black macaroon. The fox approached the tree where the bird was perched, delighted in his nest. Brother Crow, don't you remember me? It's your old friend Fox with a humble request. If you could share just a modest piece, seeing as I distracted that awful man. This failed to persuade the crow in the least, so the fox rethought his plan. Then if your lovely song would grace my ears, or to even hear you speak would ease my pains and fears, the crow looked down with a candy in his beak. Your poems of wisdom, my good crow, what a paradise they bring. This flattery pleased the proud bird so he
You got all other bits going on. I mean, when it was just I think call it the verse or the bit in between, it's just the strumming and the acoustic guitar and nothing particularly special. I think it's the whole performance carrying it along, and then when it gets more developed, there's some sort of woodwind going on there as well, and I'm not quite sure what instrument that is. There's also glockenspiel, sort of chimey bits, and then the sort of fiddle or the violin was pizzicato plucking away as well. So they're doing all sorts of little bits and pieces to keep it interesting, and of course having a lot of fun dressing up.
His mouth and began to sing. Your subtle acclamation's true. Best to give praise where praise is due. Every rook and jay in the core of the day's been raving about me too. They admire me one and all. Must be the passion in my call. My slender bill known through the escadrille. My fierce commanding claw. Crushed graham cracker, crushed my powdered sugar, funnel cake cocaine. Let the crescent cookie rise, these carrot-covered almond eyes would rest to see my cashew princess in the swirling marble sky. Will rest upon the knee where all divisions cease to be. A root beer floating on a banana boat across the tapioca sea. When letting all attachments go is the only prayer we know. May it be so, may it be so, may it be so. Oh.
Interesting. I think all the nonsense aside of the performance, it's quite a nice, quirky little song. It's got shades of, especially that tuba and woodwind. It's like an upbeat version of, I don't know, Neutral Milk Hotel. There's a bit of Cloud Coat in there as well. Yeah, boppy little song, quite a catchy little number. But they're really bought into all this performance as well. Yeah, it's a fun little track. All right, let's find out more about Me Without You by going and talking with Andy.
And there he is, returned.
Mhm.
So, what do you make of this?
So, with the ad hoc humming and the community theatre shadow play of the opening, I understood straight away that we are in for a performance. Big gulp. Then, with a sort of quick acoustic strum, some drumstick on drumstick action, and the odd pop from a tuba, I realized that we are firmly in Andy's cul-de-sac of quirkiness. Waistcoats are available at the rear of the auditorium. They are for your safety as well as ours. So while the Aesop narration begins and the band show a propensity for dressing up not seen since the League of Gentlemen, the music develops. There is that core of a very simple acoustic guitar and percussion, sort of centered in a folksy, jazzy attitude, which is indeed like bouncy, pleasing, and smile-inducing. Other members of the musical cast step out of the wings. Firstly, the most comedic of all instruments, the aforementioned tuba, always raises a smile. Then a sort of capricious violin, and just in case we're not sure what they are, we get their cardboard silhouettes to help us, which is very good. I also saw one of the band playing this tiny sort of toy-sized piano-like instrument, and I could hear from there were these chimes that rang out like a glockenspiel, So I'm not sure what that is called, but I think those sounds and that's what was producing that sound.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy the little tinkles that it gave out. We have some more Amdram, and as the titular cookie is introduced alongside a very surprise inclusion of a German chocolate tart, the music swells like a watching Proud Mother's bosom. The drums are now given the full set menu, and the band are swinging their pants, and it's all sounding very pleasant, actually. And I even enjoyed the expletive streamer which they deployed.
Yes, I love that.
That was probably my favorite touch of the whole video. There's some more little chimey piano, and then we have some great plucking, which I guess was from the violin, to indicate this little pizzicato, to indicate the stealthy approach of the fox. I then heard some cheeky little woodwind. I think it was a clarinet. I'm not 100% sure. But again, it was to kind of illustrate that chicanery was afoot, and perhaps a little bit of hubris. So it's all starting to get a bit Peter and the Wolf now with these sort of music instruments as characters. The singer really gets into his character as he narrates the crow's hubris and his succumbing to the flattery. And I did particularly enjoy the sort of slow motion patisserie tumbling action on the end of a stick.
Yes.
I think that was really well done, actually. And then we had this chaotic race for the much prized pastry windfall, which was highlighted by a very hectic and discordant violin, and the tuba doing its best impersonation of a grumbling appendix. I don't know what the hell. I don't know how the hell they got the sound out of that, but it was like the last vestiges of a caloric irrigation. It was amazing. There's a quick drum fill, which takes us into the band at full throttle now, with group vocals, which sound really good, actually. And there's some sort of outbreak of St. Vitus dance here. They're all sort of twitching and jerking unbelievably. Then there's some sort of pastry imagery and sort of what sounded to me like almost Edward Lear nonsense lyrics that are all sort of, not nonsense, but, obscure lyrics that kind of ride us out to curtain down. I think you either buy into this or you don't. There are some days where I would really enjoy this, and other days where it will annoy the hell out of me. Today I enjoyed it. I think all the anthropomorphic nonsense aside, there is a quirky little number in there, and it had some shades of it. Kind of reminded me of a little bit, I guess, with the inclusion of the woodwind and the tuba of kind of neutral Milk Hotel, and also a bit of Cloud Cult as well in their sort of spirit. But so yeah, I'm reminded that the original Aesop fable, the crow had some cheese, but I guess that a Dairy Lee triangle wouldn't have had the same drama. And for my money, I was always rooting for the fox.
Yes.
So there you go. Thank you very
Excellent.
much.
Well, I'm glad you opened your mind to this, and I know that this wouldn't be something you would naturally lock off to go listen to. And you know that I have a penchant for this kind of like Baroque rock, Baroque pop, and the theatrical, quite literally in this case, where it's like you have this theater setting, which always tickled my fancy.
Yeah, of course.
And I just love the energy and sort of the neurotic kind of manic delivery of the lead vocalist. I'm usually not one for spoken word singers, but this guy does it for me for some reason. And we've talked about how I'm prickly when it comes to that kind of approach to vocals. But yeah, these guys do it for me for some reason. And I appreciate you giving them a listen, man. So
No.
Yeah, let me jump in and discuss the band a little bit. mewithoutYou was an American rock band from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, just up the road, as I'm always obligated to say. The band consisted of Aaron Weiss on vocals, Michael Weiss and Brandon Beaver on guitars, Greg Jahanian on bass guitar, and Ricky Mazzotta on drums. The band's music is...
Can I just ask quickly, because you mentioned a couple in a recent one as well. Philadelphia, isn't that the city of brotherly love?
That's what they say. Yes, that is what they say.
Yeah. Just it pops into my head.
Yeah, yeah.
There you
And
go.
here we have a band that have brothers in it. How about that?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Hate each other. No,
yeah,
sorry.
now that checks out for Philly, especially when it comes to their sports. The band's music is generally dominated by spoken word vocals and free-ranging drums, bass, and guitar. Me Without You's debut full-length album, and it is the title quite literally is bracket A arrow B close bracket. We'll call it A to B. Life was released in 2002. The band garnered more attention for their second release, 2004's Catch for Us the Foxes. In 2005, they won MTVU's Left Field Award for the most original artist for their song January 1979, which I actually plan on giving you in the future. Their third album, Brother Sister, was released September 26, 2006, and in September of 2008, the band finished recording the follow-up to Brother Sister titled It's All Crazy, It's All False, It's All a Dream, It's All Right. The name of the album is taken from from Parable 518 in the book The Golden Words of a Sufi Sheikh by Bawa Mujahideen. The album was a departure from Wise's trademark shouting and the band's rough grooves. The fast rants, thick with lyrical angst, were traded for simpler melodies with lyrics about anthropomorphic food and animals. Similarly, the band scaled back their edgier post-hardcore sound, at times trading riffs for chords and guitars for pianos and harp. A classical composer was called into their Fishtown, Philadelphia studio for various arrangements on several tracks. They would go on to release 3 more albums, but in 2019, they announced that 2020 would be their final year as an active band. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, their extended timeline for their farewell actually went into 2022, where they would be which would be their last active year, and the band played their final gig in August of 2022. This particular track features on the aforementioned "It's All Crazy, It's All False, It's All a Dream, It's All Right," and as mentioned, it explores many of the teachings of Bawa Mujahideen. The Sufi teacher's story of the fox, the crow, and the cookie from My Love You, My Children, 101 stories for children is reimagined and told through song. So this guy is kind of like the Indian Aesop, right? Because there's clearly, like you said, there's another story with cheese rather than a cookie, but it's the same old tale, right?
Yeah.
And Weiss's mother would read this to him, I think, as a child, and it kind of stuck with him as he grew up. So the album's mixture of Jewish, Christian, and Muslim themes has been the subject of much critical attention, and the band exploring Islamic concepts such as oneness and universality of God. So interesting. And we will get into the lyrics, which these are some of my favorite lyrics in music. I don't know why, but they absolutely tickle me.
I would just say that I don't know this guy, but the Aesop Fables thing is just, I think for a lot of people, it's ingrained in me as a child. I can still see the Ladybird book of Aesop Fables if I shut my eyes, and I can even see the pictures from the tale of the sun and the wind about trying to get this guy to take his coat off, and the fox and the crow. I can picture that illustration as well. Yeah, amazing, and all the others. It's just really powerful stuff. That it will stay with you from childhood.
And the morals and the stories are so good and well crafted and concise and like altruistic. Like these are good lessons that you want to carry in your life.
Yeah.
And they don't even have to just apply to children. You know what I mean? They are. That is universalness to them, for sure. So the lyrics. Through mostly vacant streets, a baker from the outskirts of his town earned his living peddling sweets from a ragged cart he dragged around. The clever fox crept close behind, kept an ever watchful eye for a chance to steal a ginger spice cake or a boysenberry pie. Looking down was a hungry crow, When the time is right, I'll strike and condescend to the earth below and take whichever treat I'd like. The moment the baker turned around to shoo the fox from his cart, the crow swooped down and snatched a shortbread cookie and a German chocolate tart. Using most unfriendly words that the village children had not yet heard, the baker shouted threats by canzonet to curse the crafty bird. You rotten wooden mixing spoon, why, you midnight winged raccoon, you better bring those pastries back, you no good burnt black macaroon. The fox approached the tree where the bird was perched, delighted in his nest. Brother Crow, don't you remember me? It's your old friend Fox with a humble request. If you could share just a modest piece, seeing as I distracted that awful man. This failed to persuade the crow in the least, so the fox rethought his plan. Then, if your lovely song would grace my ears, or even to hear you speak would ease my pains and fears, the crow looked down with candy in his beak. Your poems of wisdom, my good crow, what a paradise they bring. This flattery pleased the proud bird, so he opened his mouth and began to sing. Your subtle acclamation's true, best to give praise where praise is due. Every rook and jay in the Corvidae's been raving about me too. I fucking love that line. I just love the play, the wordplay, the use of Corvidae. By the way, useless fact of the day, corvids are my favorite type of birds in the world. I think they're so fascinating and cool, and just the raven thing got me, so forever makes me chuckle. They admire me one and all, must be the passion in my call, my slender bill known throughout the escadrille, my fierce commanding claw. I got a walnut brownie brain and molasses in my veins, crushed graham cracker crust, my powdered sugar funnel cake cocaine. Let the crescent cookie rise, those carob-colored almond eyes. Would you rest to see my cashewed princess in the swirling marble sky? Well, rest upon the knee, where all divisions cease to be, a root beer float in our banana boat across the tapioca sea. When letting all attachments go is the only prayer we know. May it be so, may it be so, may it be so. Oh. I love that. For me, it's like the majority of the song tells a story in like a quite literal fashion. Like it's a great retelling in this poetic, more rhythmic, rhyming way. But the latter bit, with its seemingly endless array of food metaphors and similes, I've always felt is meant to be the crow's repenting for his pride and attachment to the worldly things. It also serves as almost a prayer for his release from that addiction and behavior by ending the song repeating "May it be so," which is akin to like an amen. I think I think amen loosely translates to "May it be so" in some languages, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, really, really interesting song. There's something also wildly impressive to me when you create a story, which does take its own bit of imagination. But once you've got the idea, it's so much easier to write because you're not constricted to the outlines and the parameters of the story you're, in this case, trying to retell and build around and fit within and create all these rhyming patterns and all these, this interesting bounce to the lyrics. So I kind of admire the shit out of him being able to retell the story in such a musical way from what is otherwise just kind of a direct story. You know what I mean? Like a fable. So yeah, I just thought that was really cool, really, really cool. This from Mr. Weiss. He was asked, can you describe what these stories are like when he was discussing this book in general by this Mujahideen individual? And he said, one of them inspired a song that's actually on our new record. Both the song and the story are called the Fox, the Crow, and the Cookie. And it's a simple fable with a moral at the end. The fox says some flattering words to a crow who is holding a cookie in his mouth. The fox says, "Oh, crow, please sing for us. Your voice is so beautiful." And the crow starts to sing to impress the fox, but drops the cookie. The fox, of course, grabs the cookie and runs off. The lesson is not to desire the flattery or praise of others. All the stories are told in this sweet way that will entertain a child without necessarily needing the child to understand the meaning. a bit like Aesop's fables. So there you go. That is a synopsis of the song.
Yeah, I thought that the ending part with the imagery was it was getting along. I mean, it's food heavy, but it's getting along the lines of sort of Owl of the Pussycat sort of Lear territory as well. That's what sort of stung out to me about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
But also, it brought to mind the sort of the acid ramblings of like Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, Marmalade Trees, etc.
Yeah.
Imagery as well, which is again interesting.
Yeah, it really is. I just think it's he's using like the references to cocaine and sugar, which are these addictive things in the lyrics, and it's like the crow is saying, I got walnut brownie brain. Like, I'm obsessed with these sweet things in life. These oftentimes either material things or things that only build ego and not bridges and things like that. And that's always the way I interpreted it. But it could just be just silliness that sounds really great together. Either way, it's a fun song and I enjoyed it. I thank you for tolerating this, because you're absolutely right. This is one of my weird little Andy songs, my quirky tunes that I enjoy. So appreciate you. I promise you, January 1979 is not so quirky in its nature. It is much different and gives you a different glimpse into this band and their music. Very different from this.
You said they changed their style from, did you say post-hardcore?
Yeah. They kind of go from like post-hardcore to like this folk sound, dare I say a little Americana, but they're a bit all over the place with their sound, and it always evolves and changes, as bands are often want to do when they've been around for a while. These guys nearly 20 years. And as you probably can infer from just the subject matter of this, pretty bright guys, clever, and the songwriting alone, Alfie, get down, bud. The songwriting alone is really clever. So you can probably, extrapolate from that. These are pretty thoughtful guys that kind of want to keep testing the waters and do different things and push boundaries and stuff. So
that was the other thing that sprung to mind when you were talking. Sorry, was about you saying they're announcing their last year. Next year would be their last year, and then it was delayed. I always find that a bit weird with bands. I guess they have contractual obligations, but I figure that when you split, you split. You don't say, well, in a year's time we're splitting. Because what happens if you do your final farewell gigs and they go really well and they're all sold out and you're making money, and you go on stage and it clicks and it's just brilliant. And you're okay. That was fantastic. Let's finish. It's I think it's a huge temptation with, come on, we must have another couple of years out of this. So although it's weird, I'd rather see bands split on the spur of the moment due to a massive fight over.
Well, again, I don't think it ended like that for them. I don't think that there was any vitriol between the members. I think they're all just want to go on to the next thing and continue to learn and do different things and see different things. They're kind of interesting guys that dabble in different religions and faiths and like thought processes and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, they're hippy dippy for sure, but interesting crowd, this group. So yeah, man, thanks for giving this a listen. Guys out there in the listening audience, let us know what you thought of this song by Me Without You, The Fox, the Crow, and the Cookie. I'm sure that this either made some people laugh or made some people scratch their head. It's okay. Feel free to use the comment section to let us know what you stand on this. Also, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe if you'd be so inclined. We're trying to grow the audience, trying to grow the channel, and we can't do that without you guys. We really, really, truly do appreciate all y'all's time and loyalty, especially for all you guys that keep coming back for more. What the hell are you thinking? All that out of the way, hopefully John and I will see you on the next episode of the Audiophiles. See you later, guys.